Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to another episode of the Music is My Business podcast. Shout out to everybody in the stream. Let me know where you guys are from. Let me know what you do. I'm excited because I'm back to answer some sync questions. Shout out to my Sync Producer Hub members in the joint. What's up, y'all? I see we got KJ in the joint. We got Antonio, James, Jason, another James, Larry, I see you, Matthew, Rich. What's up, y'all? We got Jason Dowdy from Ontario. Rich is from Brooklyn, New York City. Love to see it. Q Bello, Dirty Jersey by way of Louisiana. Love it. Milwaukee, Wisconsin is where Antonio's tuning in from. Love to see it. We got Jared in the building. What's up, Jared? Good to see you. Let me see. We got KJ, what's good? You know what? We got to check in with the community, man, and start off with some wins while you guys are letting me know where you're from and what you do. I'm gonna see if we had any wins in the community this week. In the Sync Producer Hub joint. I know, listen, I had a personal win, man. I finally finished printing out these stems for this this production music album I've been working on. Finished that up last night, and it took me a little longer than usual because reading directions, it's imperative in this space. I read the directions, but then when I actually started making the stems and bouncing them out, I didn't reread them like I should have. So I got to like the second track. I had finished the stems for the second track and noticed that they asked for 32-bit float files and not what is it, 24-bit. So I had to go back and do the first one all over again and rebounce those out in the 32-bit, and that slowed me down a little bit. But I was just like, take the extra time, do it right, so that I only have to send it one time. But I'm excited about that. Those tracks are for France TV, so pretty much it'll just be in their catalog to use across like all the shows in France TV. So it should be pretty cool. We'll see how that works out over in France. So let me see, man. Let's go share a win. Let's go to the new. All right, let's see. We got Luis Barrios. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Y'all know how I get down. I will butcher your name publicly. But it's all love. It's from a place of love. All right, he says, what's up, y'all? I've been quiet in here, but for good reason. I've kept my head down and put in mad work, putting the strong vibes into the universe. I've landed a position of engineer, arranger, composer for a publishing company. Did I send out emails? Yes. Some music got accepted. Music to a library, which was great. I started thinking more deeply about building these relationships with people. They're random. They don't know me. I don't know them. So I remembered. I came into contact with an executive back in 2016 at a studio I worked at. He was blown away by the productions we were doing. However, we were all young and essentially were not ready. I remember those days. I remember emailing him maybe 3 or 4 years after I met him. No response. All good. They're busy people, and who am I? Fast forward to now. I sent the composer inquiry to him, and he called me back, had a meeting, and here we are. I start next week. Where's the DJ horn? That deserves DJ horn right there. That's dope. Let me see, where are we at? I lost my spot. I shouldn't have looked away. Coming back, here we go. Okay, the big takeaway is the relationship part. The music is great, but it's the relationships you build with people. If you hadn't heard it enough, I've said it one more time. This is thus far my dream job. We're based out of Los Angeles, and I hope to work with some of y'all Sync Hub fam. Let's go, man. That's crazy. Like, you never know how things just kind of come full circle. So that's a huge win, and shouts to him for like being consistent and like reaching out. Persistent, I should say, not just consistent. So yeah, man, shout out, everybody giving you love. What's up, Randall? LW, comprehension wasn't taught at Ohio State. There's always jabs thrown, man, when it comes to the Ohio State University. Comprehension has to be on point, because listen, We're NCAA national football champions, LW. I'm just saying. I mean, the stats speak for themselves. So yeah, man, that's dope. Let me see what other wins do we got. Vincent Jewell. This was 6 days ago. I don't think we talked about this. So he says, exciting news. I'm beyond thrilled to finally share that I had the incredible opportunity to compose custom original music for an act in the upcoming season of America's Got Talent. Let's go. While I can't reveal too much just yet, I can say that the music has been officially licensed by AGT. And if you listen closely, as soon as it aired, some of you might even recognize a little something. Shh, he did the shh emoji. And a salute. Stay tuned. This is going to be special. That's huge. That's crazy, man. Shouts to Vincent out here with another win. America's Got Talent. That's huge. So let's go, man. I love to see it. Drop your questions in the chat. I'm about to answer some questions, man. Where are you stuck? What's your biggest challenge in sync? And let's get you unstuck. That's what we're here for. What PRO collects for France? So my PRO CSAC will still collect on my behalf, but I'm sure they got like they have like an international department that kind of deals with all that stuff. So they probably, I don't know, I'm sure they communicate with the other PROs over there in terms of collection and bringing it over here. How long it's gonna take with it originally airing out of country, I don't know. I assume it's going to end up taking longer than domestic royalties. So here in the States, if I get something placed domestically, typically I'll see royalties about 6 to 9 months later. Upfront sync fees usually sooner, because those are usually coming directly from the publisher, or the, if we're doing something direct, it'll just come directly from the the music supervisors team and all of that stuff. So just depends. So we'll see, man. We'll see how that happens. As far as like just timeline with that. I've had quite a few international placements. The majority of them though have been like they air here in the United States first, and then they like start re-airing in other parts of the world, or they may air like at the same time and hit multiple parts of the world, but it just takes a little bit longer for the international ones to circle back around and actually hit my pocket. So Larry Bradshaw says, I can't find my DJ horn. Listen, man, I keep a DJ horn on deck. I'm telling you. Even in coaching classes, sometimes I'll just randomly pull out the DJ horn in TV Placement Mastery. Like it's just appropriate for so many things. So yeah. BMI set up the same way. All of them are set up the same way. Like they have their ways to collect on your behalf. So you don't necessarily have to be registered with like every country's PRO to be able to get royalties. You know what I mean? So as long as you're with your domestic one, they'll do the communication that needs to happen to collect on your behalf those international royalties. So yeah. So those are the wins, man. This week has been productive. Next week for me, it's gonna be a combination of tax preparation and which I'm like super behind on that. And mixing. I got a project I gotta mix so we can get that joint out. It's a sports project. It's gonna be fire. I can't wait till that joint drops. So yeah. Yeah, man, it is. And that takes, I'm telling you, man, it takes a load off of you just as a creator, like just knowing that they kind of, deal with all that for you. Cause I can only imagine. I mean, the admin work that goes into royalty collection alone is like, man, it just I wouldn't. I'm not. It's not for me. It's not for me. We leave it to the pros. the pros figuratively and literally handle it. So yeah, man. Yeah. So that's that. Oh, I'm getting ready for a Sync conference too. Sync Spotlight is happening April 4th through the 5th. So I'll be speaking at that. I'll be on the composer panel with some other dope producers in this Sync space, dropping gems. Gonna be here in Atlanta. Make sure you check that out, and grab your ticket for that. So I'm excited about that, and yeah, I just know gems will be dropped there as well. So yeah, and that will be the only conference I've been locked in. It's gonna be that conference, and then it's gonna be the Shades of Sync conference. Those are the only two conferences I am speaking at this year. So yeah, Jason, appreciate you dropping that link, man. So yeah, man, and hopefully I'll see some Sync Producer Hub members in the building as well. It'll be super dope. I usually run into somebody from the community, going around doing different music events and things like that. So it should be pretty dope, for sure. So I was talking to some producers in the DMs this week, and one of the biggest struggles I hear like a lot of producers have is just like, man, like just not knowing who to send their music to. That's like the number one struggle when it comes to sync licensing. Who do I send my music to? Like, a lot of producers may have heard about sync licensing. They hear music on TV, they hear music on video games, they hear music on movies, but no one knows where to send this music in order to get their music on those movies, on those shows, and things like that. So let's talk about different ways to approach this. Now, there's multiple ways to do this. If you've been at this for a while, you probably came up where Taxi was just probably the best resource to go to in terms of getting connected with companies that need music to place in TV and film. I know when I first got started, I mean, most of the information I found on this was coming from, Taxi and their YouTube channel and the Road Rally and all that stuff. But now things have shifted dramatically over the years. And some people still use Taxi. I know some students where like she'll check in every now and then. She's getting forwards and licensing deals and stuff from Taxi. So hey, if it works for you, it works for you. But there are other ways to do it. So one of those ways is if you are able to connect directly with a music supervisor, boom, going directly through a music supervisor based on their needs. So a lot of times music supervisors are working on multiple projects. They may work for a music supervision company where you can reach out to that company and then get, tapped in with them. That's one way. Another way is if you have a publishing deal, say you have, you're linked up with a Sony or, a BMG or something, like a major publisher. All of the major publishers have production music departments. So you just reach out to whoever your contact is at a major publisher, be like, yo, link me up with the Sync division. And then they'll do that. You're already locked in with them as a publisher, and you honestly can't work with any other Sync libraries because the major is the publisher of everything you do, basically. So that's your best bet. You got a direct in. So you have that way. If you're independent, you don't have a major publishing deal, that's okay. You don't need a major publishing deal to be able to get your music placed in TV and film, to get briefs, to get licensing deals and things like that. So if you're independent, the route I like to take, which I take a combination of routes, but one of the biggest ones that I found success in is just working directly with Sync publishers, music libraries, production music libraries, production music companies, however you want to phrase it. And I use these different terms because these are literally terms that you can search on Google, Chat GPT, whatever, to find these different types of companies. And then once you start doing the search, you realize there are a lot of these companies out there. So that is one of the main ways that I found a way into this space. And I'll tell you the reason why I like approaching sync publishers and why I coach other producers to do this, especially if you're getting started. First reason is because when you're just starting out and you're fresh to this space, there's a lot of things you don't know naturally. There's a lot of things I didn't know. So if you are working with a publisher, it allows you to get your feet wet and become familiar with the process and how things go, what kind of deliverables you need to have prepared, how they like those deliverables delivered, metadata, because most publishers are going to have you do some type of metadata. You just get an overview of everything that's needed for the most part, so that if you are in a situation where you're working directly with the publisher, or I'm sorry, not a publisher, a music supervisor, you kind of know exactly what they're expecting from a deliverable standpoint, from a production standpoint, lyrical standpoint, because you're going to be following these guidelines that the publisher is giving to you, and you know the critiques that the publisher is going to give to you. So it kind of preps you in a way to be ready for those more direct relationships and encounters with supervisors and things like that. So I think it's cool. Another reason why I like working with sync publishers is because it's like a partnership, right? So what we do best as producers is we produce the music. There is a lot of admin work that goes into just pitching and publishing music. What partnering with a publisher allows you to do is focus on the creative and allow the publisher to focus on the business and the publishing. So you lock in, you create, send it to the publisher, and then they take it from there. And you just go back to creating, and it just allows you to stay focused and focus on what you do best instead of like wearing all these hats and trying to do it all. Can you do it all? Absolutely. Like it's, you can do it. It's just you're going to be doing more. And anytime you do more than one thing, you're taking some of the focus off of the other thing. So that's why I like to do that. And then once I got started, then I started kind of working with some music supervisors as well, with some sync agents as well. And that's worked out. So now there's like multiple relationships. I have multiple ways to get music to places. And that's worked well for me. And that's been like one of the biggest challenges that I've seen producers have, is just not knowing who to send your music to. So you can send it to a company, you can send it to an individual. If it's an individual, that individual may be a sync agent, maybe a music supervisor, maybe a music coordinator, something like that. And then if it's a company, sync licensing company. I usually stay away from third-party services like Taxi, because I just see it as another barrier of critique you have to go through. So you have to pitch it, and then whoever they have listening to it, they have to like it enough to forward it to the company. And if they don't like it, they won't forward it. They'll give you critique, which is great, but they won't forward it. And what I found over the years is that music is subjective. One person may not like it, another person may. I've sent music to publishers before, and they're like, it doesn't work for what we're looking for. That's fine. I'll send it to another publisher. It's perfect for what they're looking for. So in a situation where you're submitting to a company where they have to critique it before they even forward it, I just rather go around and just go directly to whoever the decision maker is, so that I have the highest chance of making progress and building that relationship with them. So Allison from the Hub is here. What's up, Allison? Randall says, how do you use automation in your workflow? Automation. So in terms of production, I don't have too much automation in production. I'm pretty hands-on with that. I have used this AI music production thing. It's called Ava. I haven't used it in a while though. I kind of took a step back from the AI creation because it's still like a fuzzy space. Now, the cool thing about Ava is that it's supposedly creating things from scratch, right? Just original melodies. It gives you the MIDI. You can adjust the MIDI and add whatever you want to add. So I think it's legit. However, what it was generating just wasn't hitting the spot. It wasn't hitting it for me. Like, it was just like, it needs extra sauce, and it just wasn't giving the sauce. So as a musician, like, I'm just particular about how this stuff comes out. And yeah, I found myself having to sift through a lot of generations to be able to find something that was like, oh, okay, let me rock with this. And I was like, man, I might as well just create something from scratch. So I kind of took a break on that for a little bit. But I use automation and other things in my business. So email, messaging on Instagram and stuff for people who have questions, some of the common questions. That's automated. If someone wants to download my free Sync Producer Quick Start Guide, that's automated. You can click the link in the description right on YouTube and test it out. Like, you enter your email, and then boom, you're gonna get the guide. And I'm sitting here still talking to you on YouTube while I'm sending you a free guide, and I'm sending you an email with value, and then you're gonna get another email every 2 days with value to help you on your sync journey, just from entering your name and email to get the free Sync Producer Quick Start Guide. So that's like an example of automation that I would use in my business. What else? Other things where it's like a combination of automation and delegation. So something may happen that'll trigger something in like a task list for my team, and then they know, okay, boom. Like, for example, once I get done recording this podcast, I'll insert something on Notion, and then my podcast editor will know, okay, take the video and produce the audio for the podcast, schedule the podcast episode. It just triggers a bunch of other things that happen, and then the podcast email will come out Monday, and then boom, you're listening to an episode of the podcast every week, when I only sat here and just did this. So like little things like that, to where I don't spend a lot of time doing a bunch of like extra stuff, because I want to spend most of my time creating music and then helping you guys get to these TV placements. So yeah, that's what I do in terms of automation and delegation. Randall says faxing with one company and they're exclusive, but I'm trying to reach more and broaden my opportunity. Love it. We got a question from the hub. KJ, let me bring KJ up. Oops, I didn't do that right. There we go. What up, bro?
Hey, Clint.
How's it going, man? What's your question?
How you doing?
I'm
I got
good.
a question for you about, okay, say for instance you do a instrumental,
Mm-hmm.
and you do the instrumental, and then you decide to do a situation where you collab with, like I'll use a rapper or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the agreement with you and the rapper is, hey, if you do this song with me, we'll split the percentages half and half, because I'll
Yeah.
take the music, you do the rap report, right?
Right.
But you submitted the music to some actual supervisors. They come back to you after you've cut the rap report on it, and they say, hey, I just want the instrumental only, but you made the deal with the rapper, but they don't want the rapper on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not work for hire. How do you deal with that? Because at that point, you do have an agreement with this rapper or singer or
Yeah.
writer who did lyrical content part on it, but you did all the music, and they only want the music.
Yeah. Great question. So if so you collaborated with a rapper, you did the instrumental, he did the lyrics, you guys do a 50-50 split, you pitch that to a
Right.
supervisor hits you back, and he's like, I want to use the instrumental of this song. How do you handle that with the rapper? Is that correct?
Yeah, because at the onset, I own 100% of it, right? Or the whole part of music, the musical piece of it, right?
Yeah.
So how do you handle that if you run into a scenario? I'm not running into that, but I can see where
Oh, it definitely
You know,
happened.
that probably could happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I do, how I handle it personally, me and the rapper just split it 50-50, even if they use the instrumental. So when I collaborate with a writer, I'm collaborating to come together and create a full song, right? So we're gonna submit that as a full song wherever we submit it, you know. They're gonna get the full song, they're gonna get the acapellas, they're gonna get the instrumental, and then that's it. I just consider that a whole work at that point. And then even if only the instrumental gets placed, we're still gonna split it 50-50. That's just how I do business.
Okay. And my perspective was what I was saying was you had already submitted as instrumentals to somebody before you collab.
Oh,
That's what I
so
mean. And they
ooh,
came back to you on the instrumental only
yeah.
and didn't want it with that but you've already made the agreement, you know, with your rapper guy. Hey, we split this 50-50, but you know, hey, they only want the instrumental part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see how that can be tricky. So what I like to do, if I've already submitted something as an instrumental, and I'll give you two scenarios. So the first scenario is I submitted that as an instrumental. That would be it for me. I won't pull that instrumental and have somebody write on it and resubmit a full song with the instrumental. That's just me. Somebody else may do something different. Because of that situation. I just want to avoid that. So if it's an instrumental, in my mind, boom, this is just in the instrumental bucket. I'll create something new for a full song. So that's scenario one. Scenario two is if I did find myself in that situation, I'm concerned more about the relationship with the rapper because we can always create more music and I want to protect that. You know what I mean? So I don't want anybody to feel like I'm doing shady business with them or I'm trying to be greedy. And they're like, yo, like the instrumental of this song we did can't, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want that type of energy. So I'm going to say, yo, I know like we redid this record. Let's just do it 50-50. But that gets weird because now you have to go back to the publisher you submitted the instrumental to. And unless it's the same publisher, but if it's a different publisher, now you have to go back and say, hey, I got new splits on this instrumental because a rapper's on it. And then it just gets weird. You know what I'm saying? Like just logistically. So that's why I don't do that, because then there's a lot of back and forth and a lot of updating PRO information. So to keep it clean, if it's instrumental and I've already submitted and it got signed, that's done. And then I'll just create something new. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, it does. It does.
Yep.
I'm only familiar with the R&B side of things. When I used to do it in R&B, we would just split stuff, whatever. And sometimes the label would just come back to you and say, hey, we don't want this, you know. We only want this. And then, you know, you would sit there at the table like, well, they don't want this, so you don't get the third on this, right? So I wonder how that works in sync, because if you submit to multiple supervisors and, you know, you submit one time as an instrumental, you submit it to some other supervisors for some heat with some extra rap on it, some heat on it. And that one they come back and say, no, you know what? Just give me the instrumental there. I'm gonna get me another rapper. You know what I mean? Or something like that, right? You'd be in a pretty big bind there. So I just want to find out how that works. Or get some advice on that, because, you know, I want to submit my stuff as instrumentals out first. But there are some opportunities where I can see where I'm going to need a rapper, or I'm going to need some writers on it.
Right. Yep. That makes sense. Cool. Yeah, that's a good question. I hear that scenario a lot. So yeah, appreciate you sharing that with us, KJ. Allison said just submitted a track and had 2 minutes before the deadline. Wow. Shout out to you, Allison. I love it. She's going to get that joint in no matter what. James says, work has been consuming majority of my time lately, about to go on tour. In your early stages when you were still working and on that road to 10 placements, how did you balance your time? Great question. So time balance. Shoot, it was lopsided. So I was blessed because I had a job that was pretty flexible, right? So I worked in IT. I was a field tech, and I pretty much managed my own time. And it was set up in a way to where there would be some days where I would just have a full day. But then there would be some days where, boom, I'll go take care of a couple customers and I got the rest of the day to just kind of do whatever I want or admin work, right? So, I would go knock out my calls some days, come back home, and I'm in the studio. And it was hilarious because like my manager would hit me up and I'll be like in the middle of a studio session on the fly. So I would be like, yo, like give me a minute, like no reciting your verses. This is my manager. But and then I'll just pray that like he's not about to, send me on some emergency server call or something like that. But you know what I mean? That was the blessing in that career, is just like having something that has that flexibility. Now, when that wasn't the case and I had a full day, I had to take a step back and see like where my time was going, and I had to make sacrifices, right? So if I seen, I would come home and spend a couple hours Netflix and chilling, I would have to trim that out. We're not watching TV until I reach my goals, right? So if I haven't gotten 10 placements yet, I'm cutting out the TV, or at least minimizing it to a very, very small amount, like literally, I don't know, like 30 minutes at the end of the day or something like that when I've done everything. So cutting that out, being real intentional, seeing where I spend all my time. I have a Sync Producer time management guide inside of Sync Producer Hub. There's a link in there if you guys want that, or go to clintproductions.com, download that. But I would sit down and take account of everything I did during the day. Whatever I could trim off, I would trim off, and then only focus on the things that would push me closer towards my goals, right? So once I did that, then I knew how much time I actually had to work on music after a work day. And for me, that ended up being roughly around 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. That was kind of my window to get whatever I had to get done. And then I would just wake up at like 7 a.m. For work. And I did that just every night. Saturdays, Sundays, I had a little extra time, obviously, especially before I had kids, bro. Like, I didn't have no kids, man. I don't think I realized how much time I actually had until I had kids. I was like, bro, I had all the time. But Saturdays and Sundays, I had that extra chunk of time to catch up on things. And what I would do between 9 p.m. and 2 p.m. is I would pretty much schedule out my day. So let's say Monday and Wednesday would be focused on just production and just making the music, right? Structuring it, mixing it. Monday through Wednesday, boom. Thursday, Friday would be like admin days, to where now I'm focusing on metadata, focusing on reaching out or researching companies and things like that. While I was at work, anytime I had a break or anytime I had some downtime, I'm on my phone or on my laptop looking up licensing companies and shooting out emails. So while I'm at work, I've already hit up 5 companies by the time I get home. I may hear something back by the end of the week, whatever, but I would do that every day. Another thing I did, I would there was a time where I was at the airport, working at the airport, and I lived right next to in Atlanta's the MARTA station. So I was like, yo, I'm not about to drive all the way to the airport from where I'm about to walk to this MARTA station, sit on this train. I think it was about, I don't know, man, like 30, 45 minute ride. That whole ride, I don't have to drive. So I'm on the train just like hitting up companies, you know what I'm saying? Responding to emails, doing research, like whatever. Like it gave me so much time versus just being in Atlanta traffic driving. So if you can do that, that's a major hack too. But yeah, so Monday through Wednesday, production days, Thursday, Friday, admin days. Saturday and Sunday would be maybe like a combination of both, depending on what's going on, maybe working on some last minute briefs. That's what I did. And then to take that to the next level, I started delegating and I hired a VA from the Philippines specifically, because they're up while I'm asleep. So if I'm working from 9 to 2 a.m., I go to bed at 2 a.m., they're up. So like my VA, Hannah, she's up now. So it's like 9:39 a.m. there. So she's up working. And by the time I go to bed, it's like early afternoon. So by the time I wake up the next day, she's already completed all the metadata that I needed completed for the new tracks, or she's already uploaded the tracks that I needed to submit to the publisher that I sent her the night before. So it's just like I'm still getting things done while I'm snoring for like 5 hours. So that was like how I was able to get a bunch done and like make progress even with a full-time job in sync, until I was at a point where I could just do it full-time. So yeah, those are the cheat codes on balancing. And I cannot emphasize this enough. I have a very supportive wife who understands the vision and what I was trying to accomplish. I would not be able to do that if I didn't have an understanding wife, number one. Like, you know what I'm saying? So she sacrificed a lot of nights with just me staying up late working. And I'm appreciative of that. So shout out to the wife. I mean, like social media and sending emails. Oh, yeah. So ManyChat automation for social media. ManyChat is the GOAT. Sending emails, I use Flowdesk. And Flowdesk, you can create, email sequences and things like that. My VA handles most of the emails and the scheduling and all of that stuff. She handles the social media as well. So she schedules all of that stuff. And then I usually have somebody even in my DMs just kind of helping people answer questions based on my experience. So I just give them like, yo, this is how we approach this, and just train the people so that I can, spend time doing what I do best. Because them DMs get crazy. That admin work is tedious and very taxing. Yes, it does take away from the creative process, but I really haven't found anyone who wants to understand the music business and that I can trust to do what needs to be done business-wise. I feel you, man. So the thing with outsourcing and hiring VAs, man, is just like it's different because you have to teach them. You have to train them. And if you suck at teaching, which I found out I did at first, it's like training people to do things that you do a lot. It takes you stepping back and realizing they don't have the same context I have in my brain. So I have to get very specific and document every step of the process that I do. So if that's metadata, if that's uploading music to a publisher's website or sending it to a publisher, however, everybody has their different way of doing it. But I documented everything step by step, or I would create a video for them to watch, walking them step by step on how to do certain things. And they can always reference those videos so I don't have to repeat myself. And then they learn it, they pick it up, and then they run with it. But that was huge, man. And then getting to the point to where it's really hard, man, when you're the type to do everything yourself, to delegate things and get it off your plate and trust other people to do it for you. If you can get past that, man, a lot of growth can happen. It's very hard to do, especially when you like things done a certain way. I'm a type of person, I like things done a certain way. I had to get over that. And once I did, that's when I was able to really like lock in on what I do best: production and content. Those are the only, like, that's what I do best. That's all I want to do. So that's huge, man. This is the year, man. I got to get that sync. Let's go, Q. I feel you, man. Mindset is important as your business has grown. Do you have any recent epiphanies you've realized as you've scaled up? Yes, I have more time than I thought I had. Like, bro, like, yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm grateful for my journey, because the path that I took specifically allowed me to get to where I am now. And I think without just taking that route, I don't think I would have. I know I wouldn't have appreciated the time that I have now doing this full time had I not had my time stripped down. Because, you know, when I first moved to Atlanta, I was a full-time musician. And then I pivoted, and then I was working full-time plus production on the side. And then I realized, like, man, I wasted a lot of time when I was full-time. And had I took advantage of that, I probably would have been in a different situation. You know what I mean? Just because I would have managed my time better. But what I've learned is that the more time constraints you have, the more efficient and intentional you become with your time. That's what I've learned. So once I transitioned from the full-time job and back into music production, I was just like, yo, what we not gonna do is waste this time. So day one, back to music full time, I woke up at the same time I was waking up for work. I was up 5 a.m, getting it. Like, we're not wasting. I'm waking up, I'm getting dressed, getting my coffee. Is the same grind, and I, you know, haven't stopped since. And I treated just way more intentional with my time, and how I use that, and the constraints just help me realize that, and it forced me to delegate, to automate, and then to focus on what I dominate. How did you get your mixing and mastering of your songs for a library to accept? Do you use a program or AI for mixing and mastering your music? Oh man, that's easy. I made a lot of trash mixes over the years. Just being trash for a good consistent 17 years. It's like there's no shortcut you can take to your mixes getting better outside of just mixing all the time. Like, just, you know, find you a technique from a video, from a course, apply that technique in your next mix, and just keep doing that until you get it right. Like, figure out how can you get your drums to sound how you want them to sound. Because all of my mixes kind of start with the drums, like the low end, kick, bass. I bring the drums in, and then I bring the other instruments in. So first I had to master how do we get these drums to sound right, and then from there, you know, how do we get the sounds to mesh with the drums and, you know, not overpower each other. And it's just making a lot of bad mixes, just mixing a lot all the time. And then eventually you just get to a point to where they say yes most of the time you send something, like, oh, they accepted it. Okay, I guess the mix is oh, they accepted it again. Oh snap, my mixes might not be that bad. Getting feedback. We're doing live music reviews after this. So if you're on YouTube, stick around. I'll be reviewing music from the Sync Producer Hub community. Like doing those reviews, getting other ears on your music, that helps you realize, because sometimes we're in our own head. We think everything is trash to us, but then somebody else here, they're like, oh, bro, this is ready. What do you mean? It's crazy, man. Like, listen to producers' music all the time. They're like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's ready. Like, this is ready. Like, send this. It's not as bad as you think. So just getting other opinions on your music helps a lot. Now, as far as AI, I do use the built-in AI mastering plugin in Logic sometimes, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It'll get the job done. Now, it doesn't like mix, but for mastering, it absolutely gets the job done. And I started off, man, just using templates, the built-in templates in your DAW, the mixing templates, the mastering templates. I just started with that, and then would slowly, you know, get some different plugins. And then from there, just kind of, you know, swapping them out with the higher quality plugins, experimenting with different things, using techniques. And then over time, you kind of find your things that work for you. your go-to kind of mixing techniques and things like that, and then you just kind of lock into this pocket to where you know when your mixes are solid. So that's been my experience. What's up, G5? Good to see you, bro. Sounds like what I'm doing, 9 to 2:30 a.m. Man, that's that sweet spot. More sacrificing for me. Yeah, man. DJ Horn for the missus. Let's go, man. I'm trying to tell you, having support make a huge difference. Absolutely, man. So yeah, Mr. Roberson says, my year. Let's get it. The older you get, the more time matters. There's less of it left. 100%, bro. 100%. It matters, man. That's why I do my best not to waste any of it and just be super intentional with it. Especially, what would you have spent your extra time doing? Oh, bro, like I was waking up, I was doing foolish stuff, like waking up at noon and cause I was up late the night before, but like hanging out in late studio sessions. Y'all know how those sessions go, where it's just like you in there with an artist or some producers, and we're all like, just hanging out, maybe made a couple tracks, but then it's just hanging out, and then it just gets late, and you're just there because you're just at the studio hanging out. And the next thing you know, it's like 2, 3 a.m., and then you go home, and then, sleep till like noon. So, and it was crazy because I wasn't on a consistent schedule. I just woke up whenever I woke up, went to sleep whenever I went to sleep, and then, whatever in between. It may be working on a song, some mixing stuff, some random stuff. I would take a lot of unscheduled phone calls. I stopped doing that now. I don't take unscheduled phone calls. So I'm sorry for everybody who just calls me in the middle of the day and I just don't answer. I'll get back with you as soon as possible. I stopped doing it, man, because it just throws me off. You can be locked in, you can be focused. You take one phone call, you don't know what that phone call is going to be about. Changes your whole mood, your energy. Then it takes you like another 45 minutes to refocus. So I just stopped taking unscheduled phone calls. This is my schedule. Boom. I'm sticking to it. I'll deal with whatever needs to, whatever I need to deal with during my personal time. There's a book, Richest Man in Babylon. Highly recommend that read because it talks about separating like your home life from work life. They kind of refer to it as the marketplace. Like when you're in the marketplace, be 100% at the marketplace. Be 100% focused on your work. And when you're at home, be 100% at home. So that's what I try, I try and model is just being focused on work while I'm working and then being focused on home while I'm at home. That's a challenge sometimes because work sometimes, as an entrepreneur, things come up. But for the most part, man, we just try and focus wherever we are and during that time of day. Yeah. Appreciate that, Rich. The more constringent your time, the more intentional you become. Facts. 100%. So yeah. A/B testing. There you go. So listening to songs that are already mixed, that are out there, and then comparing your mixes to those songs. A great way. I'm posting that on all social media. I'm no longer taking unscheduled phone calls. I hate talking on the phone. I'm not a big phone person either, man. Like I'm like, get straight to the point. Shoot me a text. If it's important, I imagine you leave a voicemail or just text me. The only call that will come through in an emergency is my wife's. That's the only call that will ring through when I'm on Do Not Disturb. So that's it, man. That's the only person that's gonna get an answer, or my son. That's about it. Exactly. But it's important. If you want to reach your goals, man, you got to be super intentional. You got to be obsessed and just like and making it happen, and don't let like anybody distract you from it. It takes focus. And anything that takes you off focus, just weed it out. Just gotta go. I was in college, man. I made a decision. I had just graduated. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do next in life. I didn't know, man. I didn't know if I wanted to stay in the city I was at. I didn't know if I want to move back home. I didn't know if I want to go to LA. I didn't know if I want to come to Atlanta. I was just like, I don't know what the heck I want to do. I know I want to do music. And I was like, you know what? It's time to lock in. I sold my Xbox, got rid of the TV. The only thing I had in my apartment before I moved was my music production gear. When I moved to Atlanta, the only thing in the car with me was music production gear and my suitcases. And that's like, I just got super focused. I got single. I was single. I'm like, listen, the ladies, I'll catch up with y'all later. Y'all, I gotta focus. I gotta lock in. My wife, I don't know. She had that sauce. She got me unfocused for a minute, and it worked out. But she was mad at me for a minute. She was like, you weren't giving me no play. You was like, I was like, I'm sorry. I had to build. But we good now because we got married. So I made up for it. So yeah, man. That's it, man. We're gonna transition into live music reviews. It's March Madness. March Madness has started, so we're gonna review music, sports edition, coming up. So shout out to everybody that answered questions, man. If you're not a part of the Sync Producer Hub, get in here because we kicking it. We giving you strategies on how to produce, prepare, and pitch placement ready music for TV. Go to syncproducerhub.com. Join us because it's a dope community, man. And that's it. I'm gonna catch you on the next one. Peace.